She just brings that light that I can't bring.
He kind of makes me more logical and more motivated. You're listening to Opposites Attract with J&T. Stay tuned for...
Smash is not a medical term. I'm not Catholic.
Do you have a condom? Junior year, what an experimental time in everyone's high school experience. Generally, of course, not everyone.
Junior year was interesting, to say the least, I guess.
Specifically, people were experimenting with sex and drugs. And
that includes alcohol, by the way.
Yeah, it does include alcohol. I always got so butthurt when people would never say, they would say alcohol instead of drugs, but whatever. Because it's a drug and it kills people. Don't drink.
Don't do it.
And drive. Anyway, we kind of went, this is the high school experience, and we're talking about sex and drugs in the junior year. Because we felt that was the time that people generally were experimenting with those two things a lot more. It went from the petty crimes of sophomore year and the freshman year's dramas and whatever it was to this actual pivotal time.
Yeah. Like, the shift was pretty... I remember being in the middle of the shift, and I remember how intense it was because I just noticed all of a sudden that everybody was having sex, and everybody was going to parties, and everybody was... It was suddenly so serious. Like, it was a lot more intense than it used to be. So, like, you know how when you're in freshman and sophomore year, you're still kind of innocent. I mean, some people were out there, but not you, or, I mean, not me, for goodness sake, but...
We were at the Catholic Church. Just kidding. We're going to talk about that today because we're very pissed off at the Catholic Church.
Uh-oh. We're talking about that today.
Maybe.
Maybe in a future episode we'll see if we get to it. But, yeah, I remember I was in that shift, and I was like, oh, my God, this is intense. Like, I just remember my group of friends, it started to talk more about who had sex and who was,
Can you say smashed? I've seen all these explicits down the line of the episode.
Sex is a medical term.
Taylor.
It's a medical term.
Smash.
Smash is not a medical term. That's
exactly.
even more. That's
medical
more...
terms sound terrible. Remember that episode in the Family Feud, how he said, she said, Steve Harvey is like, don't do it.
He said the P word.
So, smashed.
Smash is more derogatory.
No, it's not. Just
yes,
say
it is.
Smashed.
All right, fine. Everybody was smashing each other, and that was when everybody would talk about it, and they were like, yeah, did you hear about this, and like, who's doing this with this person? And and then people started cheating on each other, and oh boy, and then parties happened, and that's when
to all those children were referring to the Donkey Kong game when they play multiplayer and he smashes. That's what we're talking about, because we're PG.
Oh, yeah, we're so PG. The title is Sex and Drugs, but we're so PG.
Just got a point.
But I think what we've experienced with this is actually very opposite. Like, it really is. We're very opposite in how we kind of went about this whole change, and I feel like...
The experimental time.
I just punched myself in
Taylor.
the face. I just can't hear anything right now. But maybe that's how it always is. Can you talk again?
Yeah.
Keep talking.
I'm talking.
Okay, I guess I can hear you. It's just weird, these headphones.
Sorry,
guys.
Yeah, you're right. It was an experimental time, but it also was not for some people like you.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is that everybody thinks that the people in the quote-unquote popular... I'm going to put quote-unquote in every time I say popular because I don't like that term. In the well-known group of people in high school, I feel like...
You can say the bourgeoisie.
We were not that elite. This was high school we're talking about, not freaking Queen Elizabeth, okay? You would think that I would be a partier. You think I would be the one going to all the parties. And, I did go to parties, but I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. I didn't do anything. Like, I don't know what happened, but...
Because she's Catholic.
I am not Catholic. Oh, my God. Don't ever say that to me. I'm not Catholic. I didn't do anything. I don't know what it was. I think my freshman year, I kind of just made that decision. Like, I heard some people doing it, but especially in junior year, I like kind of figured like everybody was like, oh, just come have a good time and come drink with us and, you know, come do this and come do that. And like, I don't know. I had this hesitation and I was like, I don't really feel like it. And so high school was like not something that I did that in. Like, I did not drink at all. I didn't do anything. I didn't have sex. I didn't like anything like that. I didn't mess around with boys or anything. And it was like one of those things that I just was really like strict about. I don't know why. I just remember being like, this, I do not want to do this. I don't want to be a part of this. Like, I'm not going to drink. I don't want to do it. I'm not even sure what the reason was. Maybe I was scared. I think it's kind of scary thinking about it. Like, you know, you're like, that's such a weird, like, if you've never had a drink of alcohol in your life before, which I had never, like, not even my parents.
You mean a drop?
Yeah, exactly. I never had a drop of alcohol or anything before, anything like that, any of the experimental time in junior year. So I was like, frick that. I don't want to do that. I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't want to be. And I also heard so many people in the drama, people going around getting super shit-faced, super smashed, blitzed. I'm so sorry.
We'll try again next episode.
Super blitzed, and then they would just have sex with everybody, and then they would smash everybody.
Dang it, it doesn't even matter.
Why
do you even
anymore.
talk, Taylor?
Sex
Gosh.
is not a bad word. I don't know why you think that. I don't know.
I'm gonna cry.
But
I just want to be able to show one episode to my father, my mother. Sounded weird.
I could try to bleep out them. I will try to bleep it out. Maybe we'll see. But that's besides the point. The point is, I heard all of this drama, and I was like, why would I ever want to be a part of this? Like, it doesn't even sound fun. Everybody,
sounds chaotic,
It sounds chaotic and scary. I was like, I don't want to be stuck at a party. And, like, I did go to parties, though. That's the thing, is I went to parties with my friends, but I didn't do anything. I just sat around and watched people. Like, I remember, I think it was after prom my junior year. I went to prom with this guy that I met that was a senior. And he was super nice. And we went to prom, and then the after party was at a hotel, and everybody was drinking and smoking. We spent the night, but I didn't do anything. Everybody was like, why don't you just do this, and why don't you do that? And I was like, no, I don't really feel like it. And I just didn't. I spent the night, and I didn't do anything. Nothing.
Catholicism.
Stop that. That's not even funny. And so, yeah, I don't know. It was just one of those things where I went to another party and I see like people throwing up in the corner. People are wobbling around, and I'm just like, all right, this is boring.
To me, the interesting thing is that like during everything is so exciting, and like, you know, we're going up, and we're going down on this roller coaster, and all of a sudden, like, everyone just crashes, and everyone's moaning or asleep or choking on their puke, or like in the bathtub, or the head in the toilet. Like, that's how all the nights ended. Like, I never did go. I mean, I did go to a couple parties, but like, I really didn't like it because there was like a social thing to it. Kind of like that was people's chances to kind of step down on other people, and that's what it always felt like. But I did go to other ones that were more like kickbacks with like 10, 20 people at the most. And that's how the most of the nights would end. I would usually just kind of stay sober because I would have to go home. And just watching the whole thing unravel, it was pretty great. And sometimes, like, I would leave like earlier than expected. Like, I mean, I'd be there for like 3 hours, but apparently I left early. And then, like, say another friend would show up that kickback, and he would tell me, bro, like, everyone was doing this, and everyone was like puking and arguing and screaming at each other. And
why is that fun?
Like we left, like let's say we would leave like while we're dancing or something, you know.
Did you actually dance at parties?
Kicking, you know, and then we leave, and then it's like chaotic after that. I don't know if it's, you know, my presence is just so perfect. It keeps things in bounds.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, it's interesting. I only say that it's interesting because people always get into these terrible situations where, you know, they either sleep with someone they don't want to, like, I'm sure it's protected. No one, like, when they're, like, drunk, they're like, do you have a condom? No. Come on, baby.
Jeez.
Sorry, that was just a scene.
But it's probably true. Like,
it's true. If you're willing to have sex with Matt, I can see your issue. If you're trying to bang with someone that you don't even know, like, at all, and you think you're gonna use it's not very likely, and there's a lot of bad that happens out of it because we're in high school and we're irresponsible. That's the whole fun of it,
Yeah.
The funnest experiences from my time was when the cops would show up at this house, and then we would go to our cars, and then go to a different house
and party again.
Yeah, those were the fun times. So it's like when people are tripping and eating shit and falling into the mud, or someone's being pulled over, or it's like those chaotic times. I mean, other than that, and especially when it happens to you, it's pretty sketchy, and you kind of just go back home and lay in bed, and you're kind of like, what the frick happened?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Could you testify?
Testify to what?
To the crazy moments that people would have, and they would be like, I'm never doing that again.
Oh my gosh. You would hear the funny thing is, after the weekend was over, you come back to school and you hear all these stories about the parties that happened, and then it sounds so oh, the cops came and it was so dramatic and it was so intense, and it's really great gossip. It really is. And you hear all about it and you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds crazy, and it's super exciting when you're on the outside, but when you're in the middle of it, you're like, I mean, I've never had that actually, yes, I have, but I've never been drunk while it happened. There was people drinking at one of my friend's house. It was during the day, and the cops came to the house, and we all hid in the basement. And we were sitting there what do we do? And they answered the door, and then the cop went away, and he was totally chill and just left. But I think everybody started to move. But in that situation, I was not excited. I was not happy. I was like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go home. I don't know why I'm here. It was not fun. I don't know. I think
that happened to us at a birthday party when the owner of the house came, and we just all ran downstairs.
Oh my God, I was there
for
that.
And he chased us down the stairs. We could even have a chance to get settled in that room. He just came in. He's like, "Who are you guys?" He's like, "Who are you?"
Okay, you're making it sound like we broke into a house. We didn't. It was a friend of ours' house.
But only one of the participants knew the person. So it was, in a group of 15 people, he's looking, and then he's like,
he just smiles at us and what are you guys doing down here? And then we're like, thank God it's you and not somebody else. It was an interesting moment. Yeah. That was really scary though. I remember we were all freaked out. We all sat. We literally just locked ourselves in a room, and we were waiting for them to come down.
The door was open.
No, I know, but I meant we cornered ourselves into a room. We just we ran downstairs.
I would say the good things in that were that I wasn't trying to become a scientist or anything, and I because in all reality, we talked about the education last episode, and how all the education. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone can testify. There's nothing in high school that you really learn that actually is that will provide money for you. There's nothing tangible from the education that's given. So even if you play video games, there's still nothing that you can take back home besides the memories stick, your progress in the game. That's why that was. I'm saying that because that was the whole thing that we kind of drank and kind of messed around because nothing really mattered. It's nothing we did was prudent, and that was the fun part, I guess. Just this whole no consequences.
Yeah.
Not non-consequential actions that we took. That was very exciting. And
yeah, it makes you feel like you're kind of on top of the world, you can do anything, and it's just totally carefree and it's fun. The only bad part about it is putting yourself in danger or at risk for certain problems like drinking and driving, because I know many people would just drink and then drive home, which is so stupid. And then people, sleep with somebody, and then you're worried you're pregnant. And luckily, I'm surprised nobody got pregnant. Okay,
we probably don't know that.
Well, maybe they did, but
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm actually surprised that no one did.
Yeah, me too.
Considering the type of girls / dudes we had at our school.
I think it's easy to if any of those people are listening, we're not trying to offend you. I think it was more about it's easy to get caught up in the moment, and it's easy to get sucked into that kind of that cycle where everything seems so carefree, so you just sleep with somebody and then you don't think about the consequences, or you drive and you don't think about the consequences, because that's kind of how it is when you drink or when you smoke. You don't really think about what's going to happen afterwards.
But to be fair, we like being sober at all those parties and all those events. Not all of them, but I mean, yeah, all of them. You would really see like how the people act, and it's just so sad to see like someone just their limp body, like while you're trying to drag them into a different room, they're like puking upside down. And
oh my gosh, there's so many stories about that.
It just doesn't look. It doesn't look good. And at the night, that's how it always happened. Anyone who's ever got drunk, they know how it is. It's like everyone's just getting it, and at the night, everyone's tired.
Everybody's falling asleep, and somebody's puking, somebody's acting like a crazy person, somebody is crying, somebody just passed out on the couch, like seriously, and like,
also
somebody's doing
depends.
something really stupid.